Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here with our publisher, Jim McInerney, and our special guest today, Barbara Preston, and she's from Pharmascouts.
Hi, good morning.
Good
Welcome.
morning.
Nice to have you in here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
We're excited to learn more about your story and what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to share it, especially with Discover La Jolla. It's such a great magazine and,
Well, thank you.
and media, not just magazine.
Yeah, that's right. We are 360 Media.
Right.
Well, excited, like Jim said, to dive in a little bit more. So let's kind of turn back time and talk about you as a child growing up. What was your inspiration to entering the scientific field?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think I originally intended to be a veterinarian because the first job I had was riding a horse in a reverse zoo, much like the wild animal parks. So we rode horses to keep the animals up by the road, and that gave me a passion for large animals until I got my collarbone broken by a llama.
Oh, no.
How was that?
That's a fun story.
It's probably a good thing because that meant I had to go to college because the place was closing for the summer and I didn't have any other options. So it started me on a long education pursuit.
And you had years and years of education, right?
I
Walk
did.
us
I
through
went.
that?
Yes, I got my bachelor's degree. Switched to microbiology because my mother passed away while I was in college, and I ended up raising my sister, who was just turning 13. So I got my bachelor's degree in microbiology. Worked in the department for a year, then went back for my master's while my sister was finishing high school, and worked at NIH for a little while, and then went to Cornell University to get my PhD before being fortunate enough to come out to La Jolla.
That's crazy that you were doing that while raising your sister.
Yes,
I mean, that's incredible.
it didn't help my GPA, but
Yeah.
That's a
but
really
we
good
did
We
some
can't
time
call
in it.
you lazy.
Busy.
Busy.
I think
Busy's
is
a better
good
word.
term.
So what brought you out to La Jolla?
So after I finished my PhD in pharmacology at Cornell, which ironically was the department was in the vet school,
Oh,
I came out to do a postdoctoral fellowship with Dr. Palmer Taylor, who's the head of the Department of Pharmacology, and subsequently the dean of the pharmacy school. So it's a great experience. I really loved science, loved his lab, loved La Jolla. Didn't want to leave at the end of my postdoctoral fellowship, but also realized I'm really more of a people person. So I discovered that there was such a thing as recruiting
aha.
in life sciences, which I had never heard about.
So it got you out of the lab.
It did, and it got me still connected with science and scientific discoveries and people.
Right.
So
When did you start Pharmascouts?
So I started Pharmascouts after 4 years of kind of learning the recruiting business with an international company. They taught me the recruiting aspect, and I helped them build their scientific division. And then in 2002, I decided to co-found my own company.
So you've been around for quite some time.
Yes, that's it's not a bad thing, but I forget how long it's been
22 years.
Yeah, it's just because the weather here
Yeah.
is so beautiful and consistent. Time flies.
Yeah.
3 years feels like 1 year. So
So how has your recruiting styles and techniques changed over the last 20 years?
Other than some technology, our
Fundamentals
approach
are still the
yes,
same?
our approach is still exactly the same. We are long-term relationship builders, so even if we talk to someone who's not a good fit for the position we're working on, we build that relationship because everybody fits somewhere at some time. And in the life science industry, there's a lot of change always going on. So a lot of movement,
Right.
a lot of people changing companies. So it's become like a big family in La Jolla particularly, but in the biotech or pharma drug discovery community as a
Everybody
whole.
kind of knows each other and has worked for this company, then they go to that company or they get promoted.
Right. There's a lot of that locally, but even nationally, once you've been in the industry for a while, you know a lot of people just because there's a lot of movement.
And La Jolla is certainly on the map as a national center, a
Absolutely.
desired center to work at or desired location.
Absolutely. It's somewhat easy to recruit people to La Jolla
Right,
because
of the lifestyle.
when they ask me where is the job, if I don't want to tell them right away, I'll say someplace sunny, warm by the ocean with no humidity and no bugs.
Right.
And who doesn't want
Definitely.
Yeah, right.
Selling point.
So far, pretty good.
that? Right.
So how competitive is it right now in this current market for these scientists finding jobs?
Well, it's very competitive for small companies trying to find the right scientific talent and personality to mesh with their culture, which is a very key thing because in academia, a lot of research is very independent.
Okay.
But in drug discovery industry or life science industry, it's very interdependent. So someone is always waiting for your data so they can make their next experiment or move, or you are waiting for theirs and you're trying to coordinate with other different groups. So you have to be good at communication, you have to be very collaborative. And so it takes a different personality than is sometimes associated with academia.
I see.
Takes some transition time. So it's very competitive, back to your question, it's very competitive for small companies to compete with better known companies.
Okay.
But they offer a lot of advantages that some of the larger, more highly structured companies can't offer, like
Right.
quick decisions, flexibility.
Right. Mobility.
Exactly.
Right. Interesting.
Opportunity to take on
Right.
roles outside of your narrowly defined position.
So are there other companies like yours here in La Jolla?
There are other scientific recruiting companies, absolutely. However, I don't know of any, and there's only a handful across the country and in Canada who have scientists or PhD level scientists who can
Speak the language.
thank you, yes, speak the language both to the hiring managers and to the candidates.
And I'm sure that definitely sets you apart because you have that sense of camaraderie with your candidates.
It does, yes. They feel like, oh, here's somebody who understands what I do and can communicate that properly to a hiring manager. And likewise, the hiring managers feel like, oh, there's somebody who can really send me the right candidates.
The qualified, because there's so many little unique niches within each field, right?
Exactly. So
And so you wouldn't just say, oh, I need a pharmacologist. You need a special type of pharmacologist.
exactly, there's probably half a dozen different types of pharmacologists, and their skills differ radically, though they have some basic knowledge in common. What they do in drug discovery or drug development is very different.
Specialized.
Yes, thank you.
Huh. Interesting.
So if you don't know that, then you're kind of limited to recruiting by keywords, and honestly, not all scientists write great resumes.
Yeah.
So that's something else.
believe
That's something else
Right?
that we help
Because
them
scientists
with.
probably struggle with the human connection side of things, right? They're used
Sometimes,
to
yeah.
connecting in a lab with machines
Where things are a
and
little
not
bit more matter of
necessarily
fact.
have great people skills.
That is very true, especially coming out of academia again, where it's where you're largely trained to be an independent researcher,
Right.
which is excellent if you're running a lab in academia. But if you are in industry, you need to be an independent thinker, but a collaborative worker. So being able to not only understand and communicate what you do, but understand what people in other aspects, well, say chemists or uh, uh, bioanalytical people or cell culture people are doing and what their language is, because there's a lot of lingo.
So what does the recruitment process look like when working through your company?
So, like I said, we're very interested in building relationships. So we identify candidates that we think are appropriate, generally at other companies that work in a similar field or on similar subjects, and make contact to find out kind of where people are in their careers. Some people love their jobs and they don't want to think about doing anything else, and some people hate their jobs but they don't have time to look for another. And some people are kind of in the middle. They enjoy what they're doing but they feel like they could move on. They just
So
don't know how
how
to do
long
that.
are you looking to place these candidates in these new companies? Is it a 2-year position? Is it a 5-year position? Is it a 1 year? Is it
Oh, I hope they stay and grow with the company as
forever?
long as the
So
company
it's a
is
very
there.
permanent
Absolutely.
placement in
I
your eyes.
hope so, yes.
Got it.
It's a lot like matchmaking.
Yeah.
So we kind of help them and the companies get through that dating period to find out if they're
If
going
it's
to
a
be
good
good fit, and then hopefully we find somebody that the company falls in love with, and they fall in love with the company, and it's a long-term,
Good.
mutually
So you've
successful
probably seen
relationship.
over the last 22 years a lot of people that you've recruited move up through the ranks in those companies, right?
Yes,
And now you're
exactly.
calling them and talking to them. They might even be the owner of the company by then.
Right, or the chief scientific officer, a VP, and it may be that they are looking for people for their company.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So those long-term relationships really
Yeah.
benefit
There it is right there in a
everyone.
nutshell. That's about as
Yeah.
long term as you get.
Right.
And are you strictly searching and placing people in La Jolla, or do you go nationally?
We source nationally and we recruit nationally. So, but La Jolla is our favorite because we're here. We
Unbiased.
right. We also know the scientific community here. We do a lot of volunteer work, and also are part of a lot of the scientific associations, like the Association for Women in Science, which is a great organization. It's about half academic and about half industry, very collaborative, mentoring, and it's not just for women. Men are welcome too. It's the Association for Women in Science.
Okay.
So I encourage everybody to get involved with them because they have great mentorship. They have excellent programs. And when I need extra help recruiting, I may reach out to that organization to find somebody on a special project.
So what's the hardest part, in your opinion, of what you do? Is it getting people to accept change or make a change or make the move?
That's a good question. It's just that it's a process, because this is going to impact the candidate's life, their
Family,
family,
It's a
yes,
very big
their
decision.
whole. It's a big decision to make a
education of the
change,
kids, etc.
and so you want to make sure that they are ready for that and they're
Yeah.
comfortable for that. But also the company, if you get one bad person in there, it can make it unpleasant for a lot of people. So you really, companies really need to feel that this person is going to not only bring the technical knowledge and skills, but work well with others and
Right.
be
Yeah.
an asset.
Which is really important because it affects the entire company culture, like, and it trickles all the way down too.
Yes, exactly. And
How
I
many
tell
people
that,
do you think you've recruited over your lifetime, if you were
oh
guessing?
my gosh,
You're totally guessing.
I couldn't even.
Throw a number out there.
I don't. Gosh, I really haven't thought about
Over
it.
1,000.
I don't know.
We're that high.
Maybe up to 1,000.
It's a lot of people.
Yes, it's a big number.
it's a lot of people to talk to because those are just the ones that
that made
actually
it.
get the
Yes.
job.
Right.
There's probably
Right.
plenty
Those aren't
more
the
that
ones
you chat
who
with that don't.
interviewed or the ones that we talked
it
to
down or whatever.
who, it wasn't the right time or
Right.
it wasn't the right position or that kind of thing. So
Awesome.
we talked to a lot of people. And
Good for you.
No.
Oh, you're making La Jolla better.
Yes,
Oh, it's
definitely.
One person at a time. One scientist at a time.
Yes.
starting from La Jolla and impacting the world
That's great.
through their discoveries and their
How
work.
awesome.
It is a very rewarding.
That is really cool.
So if someone wants to learn more about what you do, or let's say they're watching this and they're in the life science or the scientific field and they're looking for a change or they want to open up that conversation, how can they get in touch with you?
So they could go to our website, which is www.pharmascouts.com. And we're also on LinkedIn. We have a very active presence on LinkedIn.
Good.
And,
Makes sense.
Yes, so either for companies,
Pharmascouts.com.
yes, for companies wanting to hire or people looking to see about that next step in their career.
Wonderful.
Great.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara, for your time. Thank you for coming on the Discover La Jolla podcast. And we're excited. We're excited to have you in, and we're excited for the interview in our magazine.
Well, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure.
That's going to be awesome. Thank you, Barbara.
My pleasure.
And thank you for watching Discover La Jolla.